Everything. And that's all set up. Just let the other one catch up. Let's zoom in just a little bit. I think that's going to be about right. Good evening and welcome. So this is... Camera's going up a little bit. Good evening, Nick. How are you doing, mate? I don't want to lose anything on the camera, so just move it up just a little bit. There we go. That should be about right. Sorry about the wobble vision there. Okay, so... good evening, Kay. Nick. How are you doing? I hope we're all enjoying the heat and managing to stay cool and enjoy it, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. I think it does. So, we shall tonight be doing the Duergar warlord in all his glory, in his KP glory. What I did in the week was I've done a sneaky catch up. Last Friday I said I'd painted the Duergar with spear, but I'd had them in the wrong bag, and they were the ones with heavy weapon upgrade, and ones I had left were with spear. So I painted those ones in the week and just done a photo shoot, and I thought I'd paint him tonight, and that would be our 4-pointer finish then, and I can do like the unboxing thing tomorrow. Yeah, it's quite hot, isn't it? And it certainly does take it out of you. So, without further ado, let's get some paint on this and see how long, because my wet palette is starting to dry out already. So, let's see how it goes. Luckily, earlier on, I just had mainly glue in to do, so the heat was a bit of a bonus, but when you're painting, it can be a bit... It's good for when you're doing glazes and stuff like that. They dry really quick, but... Yes, so I'm going to struggle on. I've got it loaded up as much water as I can. We're starting off with a like stone golem grey, sorry, which isn't mega different from the grey that's on there. So we'll just layer that down. Let's just stop the computer restarting. Yes, so we'll give it a go, and if it's gonna dry too badly, we call it a night, you know. I've zoomed in a little bit more tonight, so you can see if it's a little bit too close. Just let us know, and I'll zoom out a bit. Right, so that's that base on. So I'm going to follow the colour scheme we had. I'll work as quickly as I can. We're going to put some drops of matte medium in them to help them. That will help keep them wet a bit longer. So it's got a bit of paint retardant in there, but So yeah, I'm going to stick with the same colour scheme. As I said, Monday I'll do the usual photo shoot that I do. Video, I call it an unboxing, although we've done the thing. So I've been putting like calling it a showcase / unboxing because I didn't know what else to call it. That paint is lovely and runny now with that medium in it. Yeah. So Griffin Beast have been busy. Have you all seen all the? So they've had the dwarfs up now, and they've also put the gobos up. So they should be arriving soon. As you see, that first bit of red I've done there is dried already, isn't it? This is wicked for painting glazes this weather. Okay. I can do his sleeve in red as well. We could have done him in purple really, or is the warlord, but I've got some other ideas. Yeah, he's not. This is the version of the warlord that comes with the 4-point starter box, as it were. But there's actually, let's get them out. I think they're in a box next to me now. When I grabbed all the duergar stuff, they gave me some extras. But I've been painting just painting the 4-point. So that's the warlord that comes with the 4-pointer. Then you got these other warlords. They're all slightly variants. And he's got an axe, I think, in there. Yeah, I was going to do purple. I thought I'll do one of these in purple. That's just different variants on the... Oh no, that's one of the lieutenants. In the Saga Age of Magic, there's a troop type for lieutenant. That's what that one is. It's more just the base size really. That's a warlord. Let's get him out. Rude not to get him out, isn't it? These cloaks would be good fun. Good big surface area to paint and... And then this is the other lieutenant, I believe. Yeah. With those crazy helm on. At the moment, these are Ragnarok miniatures that Griffin Beast are doing. And I know that he's got a Kickstarter going at the moment for a load of Vikings. So, they're pretty cool. I suppose we could do, instead of doing a black cloak, we could do a... And let's stick with the colour scheme with these ones. Then we get carried away with the next one. Yes. Okay, so let's put the go on, where? My head's going a bit chaotic as well. One of the neighbours opposite, if you hear any screaming, no one's being murdered, they're having a barbecue opposite. And I've got the window open, which I'm afraid I'm not going to shut. So let's lay down the base colour freeze and chainmail. There's quite a little bit of red in there, but that's alright because when we put the washes over, yeah, they're quite a joy to paint. And they're not overcomplicated. You know, there's not too much over detail. You know what I mean? Which is going to allow us to do a bit of mucking around with freehand in a bit. But I mean, if you I know you're talking about taking your time on the painting. If you're just trying to get an army on the table, it's miniatures like this that help you do it a little bit quicker, because you can paint to that tabletop standard and they're still going to look pretty good. And then of course you can just take a little bit more time on the warlord, where he's quite simply clad out. Even that works in your favour. I think there is a danger of going a little OTT on very simple looking. Sometimes a clean, simple paint job makes them stand out a lot more on the tabletop. Remember, you're looking at these 3 feet away, and we're looking at these at the moment, like zoomed in front of the camera. I mean, when you go to a show, you don't snatch people's miniatures up off the table, and well, you might do, and have a good old look at them. You tend to look at them 3 foot away. Horses for course, isn't it? So just laying some matte white down on the beard so we can run the grey over that in a minute. And go to our secret weapon, burnt umber. Yeah, I was wondering if anyone was going to click on tonight, because it's like so warm out. I'll just use our burnt umber to zoom in some of this leather. So here it's going over that zenithal undercoat. Give us some free shading, which we like. Yeah, it does get like that, doesn't it? Sometimes you, it's a really easy thing to do is burn yourself out by overpainting a miniature. And that's why I like the saga sort of 4 point thing, because it's like if you paint everything to your absolute top standard, you can on that number of miniatures, but your levy, you don't want them to look like that. You want them to look a bit grubby and rubbish, because they're a bit grubby and rubbish. So if you can paint them fast and kind of, oh blimey, yeah, the forecast was sort of saying that thunderstorms are about. Yeah, so if you, what was I saying? Yeah, so if you paint the levy to too high a standard, they close the gap on the work on your half guard and your um, warlord. Yeah, pull all the stops out on your warlord, can't you? There's only one miniature, and he's the one that's going to look the bee's knees. I love that saying, bee's knees. So we're gonna just run the dark tone, or your known oil, or whatever black wash you like. So go the chainmail back to front. There we go. Yeah, you get some right old thunderstorms on the coast, don't you? Now we're going with the red wash. Sorry, red tone. Well, they've put wash on the new bottles, look. So I'm not lying. I think some people were getting confused whether they were. They must have many, many knees, and they're all great. It'd be ace to imagine a load of bees having a knobbly knees competition. I've not been drinking. I even though it sounds like I have, it's I think the heat's got to me. I've been chasing around after the puppy all day and trying to keep it cool and stop it doing its puppiness everywhere. So, I'm absolutely knackered. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, is that ham radio? Is it? What's that? I don't even. Oh right. Yeah, I find the wet palette works alright, and this one's not too bad. As long as I put a bit of the my magic stuff in it. Magic stuff. That sounds wrong. My matte medium has got some flow retardant in it. So, in fairness, as well as put a drop of that into the things, they kind of last a long time. Yeah, I'm going to go back, I think, and use the brown speed paint for his furry bit, so it's a little bit different from there. So let's lay down. Oh. Let's lay down some of this gold. I notice some of these paints, so they get all warm, don't they? And then they take the lid off and they squirt a load out. So it's quite glary off the light tonight, though. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I said last week. I used the when I run out of the well before I started using these plastic ones, I bought a marble soap dish in I think it was Asda, and that's nice because it's sort of because it's got like a bend in it. So when you put your washes down, you put the washes down and use it like a proper palette with the other paints up top. It's good for mixing. Yeah. So let's go with that. Whatever works is good. So we'll lay down this gold bit. Let's get a latch there. And then a little bit blue tone. Yes, Colin pointed out on my I think it's my Facebook post earlier. He painted them in this sort of very dark sort of Tolkien-y style, which is ace. Or I've decided, so they didn't look the same. I decided to go for more of a D&D sort of style. Makes it feel different, doesn't it? So now we're just gonna thin with our matte medium. I say this paint's already thin anyway. I want the undercoat showing through, as you see on there. If it's not quite showing through enough, you can just get some medium and just thin it out. So we're kind of doing like a black glaze here. The reason being is I want just to add a little bit of interest, really. Just not leaving too much down the creases, working it up. Like that. Good work, Kay. Like that. So as you can see, that is really thin, that black we're using. Let's get a real close up of that matte medium. Really stretches the paint. You see, even in this heat, that retardant is going to let us go back. You see how nice and matte it's going. It's quite thin. Just, any mistakes, just wash off. I'm just going to make it a bit thicker coming down the edge there, so we get a nice defined line. All of Tolkien, Karen, or just The Hobbit? So I'm just gonna, again, I can water the black down and just lay some into the thicker areas. Or if you don't want to do it like this, you could use that black wash we got on there. Just go around underneath the edge of his cloak as well. You have to watch it where it's a little bit runny there. It doesn't run anywhere, but you don't want it. So my friend earlier, it's like, this is pure glazing weather. You can just keep going and going and going. So that's what we're doing, is going to drop some more glaze. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big reader, and I tried with the Tolkien stuff, but his writing style and I love the stories, and I know everything's got so much to be thankful for and for it, but I just can't stand the books. Reading them, they don't grab me at all. It's very few, but I'm not one of the greatest readers in the world. Purple, you wanted purple. You wanted purple? We'll paint something purple, don't we? Yeah, those paints are holding up quite well on there now. Bit medium in them. That'd be fine. The only author I really love to read is David Gemmell. I suppose it's like anything in there. If you like something, you like it. Look at that edge of his chainmail in purple. I sensed a strong attachment to the colour purple, Kay. Is that right? I think you... Oh, okay. To be honest, I'm lazy now. I mean, I listen to audiobooks more than anything else whilst I'm painting. Um, there we go. Bit of purple. Let's put a drop of this in case we need it later. Okay, so that's all of our base colours nearly on. Haha! I knew it just when you went straight to the purple. Oh, you should have painted it purple. So, okay, so let's. Well, I've zoomed in. You can't see the palette or anything, can you? Oh well. I thought we'd have a look at the miniature this week instead of the palette. So I've just watered that oak. I should be using a bigger brush here. Otherwise I'll be there all night. Ah, yes. Very good. Ultrit. Yeah, the only two books I kind of read, as I say, David Gemmell's my favourite. And I like the Sharp novels. I love a bit of Sharp. It is the regal colour. It's not very regal. It is the regal colour, isn't it? Maybe because he's a warlord, not the king of the duergar. Perhaps he can only have a little bit of purple on his. Who knows? So I'm plenty of medium in this oak brown, just so it's the pumice shows through. If you want it to look like dark, you just put a wash on it as well. I like the pumice because I buy the neutral coloured one because then you can. The gold, that's a army painter greedy gold. Greedy gold. But again, shake the bejeebus out of it because otherwise it doesn't work. If it's not shaken properly, the metallics are awful, but shaken up, they're fine. Shake it, baby. I don't know what it is about the army paint ones where they need more shaking, but once you've got them shook up, they work fine. Strange. Now we're going to get some flesh wash. I'm just going to lay that flesh wash. Flesh wash. That's a funny. Keep saying that. If you say words over and over again, they sometimes sound funny, don't they? Flesh wash. Flesh wash. Am I starting to sound a bit. I'm either sounding drunk or. I don't know. It's very similar to GW Retributor armor, if you like it in stuff in the pots. The Retributor armor gives slightly better coverage, I believe, but is a little bit thicker. I found the army painter as well, handles being watered down a little bit more. Or, yeah. So that's it with a flesh wash over the top. We're going to give it a bit of an antique-y look. About half an hour. We're half an hour in, and we're starting to get to the bits where you can start playing with. So next we're going to grab hardened leather speed paint. Which is kind of one of the better ones. A lot of places are selling them off cheap at the moment, and hardened leather is definitely one if you can pick up cheap, it's worth picking up. As is the, was it Crusader flesh? I've missed his buckle thing there. Let's just take a bit of the speed paint off. We will go over it. And this is going to look slightly different to the leather we did with the Vallejo. It will show the highlights a little bit more. Yeah, I think they're worth having in the toolbox, especially at the moment if you can pick them up cheap. Double bonus. Okay, now we see that black's dry. Look, you can. It just makes it look a little bit. Well, if you dry brushed it like that, you wouldn't get that natural. I don't know how much you're picking up on camera, but you can see these highlights. Sorry, it's like a wash. What the speed paint? Yeah, sort of. Just a little. It stains. I think the big difference between it being a wash and the speed paint is if, for instance, you put a wash over the cloak here and it was white, and I washed a red wash over it, the highest parts would go back to the white because the wash won't stain them. The speed paint will stain the high parts as well, so you just end up with a highlight. That's the difference in contrast and wash. But if you put a little bit of medium in the speed paint, it then starts behaving a bit more like a wash. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But in fairness, I got them to try them, and I probably will go back to what I was doing before, which is make my own washes and glazes and stuff using my own matte medium, because I can make the ones on the fly that I need. That makes sense? I think so. Okay, next we're going to hit Runic Grey. But whilst they're here, I will use them. Waste not, want not. It's better than throwing them in the bin, isn't it? So I'm just going with that Runic Grey over that white we painted earlier. I've left a little bit of medium in my brush just to yeah, suppose so, yeah. Not really miniatures kicking around like a sort of demo. Yeah, I think it's consistency wise, yes. They're halfway in between. But that property of staying in the higher the highlight area is definitely a. That's why I said there. It's more like the ink you have out of a permanent marker. That's the better way to describe them. And of course, then it acts like a wash in the lower parts. Okay, so now we're just gonna. This is pure red, which is really good. We're just gonna start picking out highest areas. We're going to leave those dark areas. And because we've done the Xenophore highlight underneath, and we've used the thin red, it's still left us a good guide of where to put the highest. There's still a bit of a puddle in there, but avoid that. Yeah, so it's like the last batch of spearmen I did the other day, because they're going to be just the warrior class. I didn't highlight their red up, I just left their red really sort of dark. Now we're going back around the red again, just tightening up those highlights. Now, which purple did we use? We used alien purple. So we're going to jump up to a oozing purple. And I'm going to put that on there. And because that's quite a big jump, we're going to do some mixing. So I'm going to take one of each, mix them up. Still a little bit light, so I'm going to put another one of the darker purple in. And I'm going to thin it out with the medium. Wash my brush so there's not too much paint in there. I'm just going to run a broken line of this across the purple we've got. I say it's quite thin, so we're going to have to do this a couple of times, but because the temperature, it won't take us long to build that up. This is the third pass, more or less, in a row. So I'm using very thin paint. And it's very warm, so it's not going to take an awful long time to dry. Now I'm starting to leave certain areas. Now I'm going to go to wash my brush out. And we're going to go to the highest purple. I'm just going to gently touch that on. There we go. Just trying to catch the edge on the inner edge there. Yeah, real. Do you prefer the? Because last week I had it zoomed out quite a way, so that's because I was doing like a batch paint. When we're doing a lot of this fine work, I try and zoom it in a bit. There we go. Next, we're going to grab Mars Red, which is like an orangey red. So all these, if you want to get really fancy pants, you can mix in between colours as well, if you really want to layer it up. I say we're going for what we're going for in these videos is, you know, a decent quality tabletop ready sort of thing. So we're not going to go crazy. And this orangey one, we're just going to go and hit those very high highlights. So they're very, I say we thinned out again. Or even highlighting inside the cloak. You could get away with not doing that, but we wanted his warlord ship to look his best. So again, I'm just trying to stay on the highest edges. Evening, Rich. Yes, it is quite warm. Well, it has been mentioned. Luckily, the wet palette's working its wonders, as is the matte medium. I think that's the reason it's staying. So even those original colours on here I've put on the dry palette are still alright. I'm just going to hit the very highest up here. I think what we'll do, because Kay likes purple, I think what we do is start working in a purple feature down the bottom of the cloak here. So I didn't want to shortchange you on the purple front on this one. Seems if it's your favourite, we aim to please. What we'll do is we'll just work some purple into this cloak. It's going to take a couple of passes. I'm just going to thicken it up a bit because I had an idea of what we could do. So I'm just going Maybe it's about a brush and a half wide, I suppose. I overlapped it a little bit, so just to get a bit of strength in there. Sorry if I wander off camera at this bit. There we go. I think we're going to need it just a little bit wider for what I had planned. Yeah, I saw it was going well. I'm just gonna... You've met Andy then. That's, I think that's Lord S's catchphrase. Okay, so we've got the purple line running across the back there. Oh, he needs one on his sleeve now, doesn't he? There is bonus paint this temperature, as the paint dries so quick on the miniature. It's ace. So if you can get over the if you get the palette set up right, bit of that matte medium with the retardant in it, and you're golden. Look at that. So next, what we do is we're going to get, yes, true, we go shining silver. Load the brush in, and we take most of the paint out, but not quite a dry brush. We're looking for just not too much paint in the brush, if you know what I mean. want to catch. I've been ever so light as you can go, and just letting the highlights form in the right areas. And we're going to do the same thing on the spearhead. So we're going to edge highlight with the silver, and then ever so lightly we're just going to paint a few lines coming off the tip. There we go. A little bit down there. Depends how much wash you've got built up on it. There we go. This jingly jangly silver. So next we're going to work on that gold. So now we're going to go back in with bright gold. Okay, mate, no worries. I went to the fish and chip shop the other day. I was quite surprised. Was it £8? £8.50 fish and chips. And we're quite away from the seaside. I should imagine you get a bit of a shock down there, didn't you, Karen? Yes, we're doing the same thing now with this bright gold. We're not quite dry brushing, we're just going to pick some of the areas we want to shine. There we go. So it's going all shiny now. Oh, blimey. A bit scary up by you, isn't it, Kay? What we're going to do is, I think we're going to put that in purple. Purple tone. A few purple fans. And I'm going to just gently paint. I don't want it pooling. I just want a little bit of so we're going to go and wick away any pools that are happening. I'm just going to run a little bit along the edge of this purple. I want it to run in that groove just between the bottom chainmail. But did you think, okay, perhaps they trained the fish to farm the potato? So what you're actually paying for is the training of a very clever fish, which does make you wonder, if it was such a clever fish, how did they catch it? They probably caught it when it was on land trying to grow the potato. I'm going to stop there because it's making me sound like I'm drunk. I think it's just the heat. That's the excuse I'm sticking with. Okay, so now I think we should do some of the flesh tone again. We're gonna go for spaceship exterior, which everyone knows is a duergar flesh tone. This will take the flesh tone. What we're looking for here is just the highlights. It's top of his knuckles. You've got that darker grey and the blue tone under this. And just a little on the tip of his nose, his lip. Okay, it's a bit thin down as well. We're not gonna lose all the wash, so we can let that dry now. Next, we're gonna go for lava orange. The matte medium in there, so nice and thin, and we just want to run this right to the edge of all the highest highlights. There we go. So just using that orange kind of off the edge of our brush. There we go. So go back, how was that purple drying? That's drying lovely. So I'm gonna mix some of that medium purple. I'm just gonna darken it off a little bit. And I come down the center of that purple line. It doesn't really matter if you don't quite connect at the bottom, because obviously it'll be darky shadows down there, and we're just trying to make it look a little bit more interesting. There we go. Ah, Benjamin, how are we doing? Yes, this is the last of the duergar before we do our... Oh, let's let the motorbike go past. Yeah, so... Nice. Yeah, this is obviously the warlord for that 4-pointer set. So Monday I'll be able to do our unboxing showcase video that I usually do when we finish. So that'd be good. So let's go back, put a little bit more medium in that purple wash. I'm just going to sit that into the flesh tones that we've been working through. Yeah, it was like the one of the done the demo, the practice one of the flesh wash. I tried it both ways, and then I realised that I needed to do, even like this last two layers seemed to have destroyed the bottom two. It did, when I tried it without it, it didn't kind of work. So hey ho, it was a bit. I'm just going to run a little bit more purple down there. Just going to... We took it up quite high anyway. If you always take the colours up a little bit higher than you need, you can always knock them back with a bit of wash. There we go. Around the bottom of his cloak looks good now. He's starting to come along super-de duper. So that's the basics of him done. So let's start working some extra bits now. First of all, Banshee Brown. This is going on the dry palette. So a little bit. I'm going to get our bit of sponge. Just do the base while all that washing everything's getting dried up. Okay, so we can dry brush, but really light hand. Just to pick up the very highest bits of that pumice. There we go. So just over an hour now. Not bad. I wonder. There's a... I don't know what it's going to look like. Might have to wash this off. But there's these metallics they do, which I really, really like. And I'll try and find excuses to use them. Like for gemstones and that. I just wonder what the helm would look with some detailing on it. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Over that one, did little lines like that. Got to throw a bit of concentration Just locking your arms and your hands off. Maybe around the bottom edge. Another red drop in there. I do like these coloured metallics they do. Get some really interesting stuff going on. Let's use a different one now. Wow, speed painting competition. just dip the miniature in the paint and shake it. Or squirt the paint on it. This one is a really nice colour. This is Evil Chrome. It's a really nice colour. And what I'm going to do with this one is don't know if you're going to pick these up on camera. No, they're going to be too small for camera. Oh, that's a shame. Let's see if we can do them a bit bigger so you can see them on camera. I'm actually painting there we go. Let's make some runes up. Oh, we did green the other week. Do you get to choose the undercoat, or is the miniatures not undercoated? If they're primed, I'd go for your darkest colour thin as you can make it, as a all over wash. But with thin paint it dry quite quick, and then just pick out some stuff. It's hard to tell without. I want to go back over to these and make them a bit bigger because you couldn't really see them. What we'll do is sleeve. Edge that purple out. Yeah, as long as you don't get too mad, you'll stretch it so far with water, but it will break easier than it would with medium. A lot of people maybe try to dry brush, but you're going to struggle with that. Just do it. We got faith in you, Ben. Faces, bases, shields. That's the quickest way to paint. If you're painting a big batch of miniatures, faces, bases, shields. That's the 3 golden rules. I shouldn't be telling you. That's it. So we've got, that's our purpley, fancy, runey bit at the bottom. And we see our red bit around the top. He's very much nearing completion, I think. We've got eyeballs to do, but they're not going to be massive because he's wearing a spectacled helm. Where's that Vallejo flat earth? I'm trying to use on the first batch by mistake, so I've had to use on the rest of the batches. But I can't remember what. There's an army painter equivalent to this one, but I just can't remember which one it was. Off the top of my head. Off top head. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah, some. The secret is that flesh wash. Although they do one called a mid browns. Is it mid brown? Yeah, mid brown. That works as well. It's almost the same as the flesh wash, but it's just a little bit redder, if you know what I mean. So if you want a slightly different one, or the GW Reichland Flesh Shade gives you a slightly lighter one, which is good. I mean, by the time I've got the glue out, that's going to be dry anyway to stick on. Yeah, so as you see, he's looking rather magnificent already, in a duergar sort of way. When we stick him with the others, where the others look quite... Oh, sorry, that's me shaking the table. Yeah, I'm with you. I can see that. Right, let's stick his shield on. Stick the super glue over there out the way. I'll tell you what does look good as well. Using the same method, but instead of doing the base gold, if you use true copper, do true copper, then the flesh wash, and then you can either use for the make a verdigris up using, which one was the best one? That one, Royal Cloak. That was really smart, but I didn't think these guys' armor would be that rusty. But and I've done all the rest of the shields kind of plain. So I do like painting stuff on there, but yeah, just thinning it away. Both the Vallejo and the Army Painter paint works really well with this medium. It just really does. I don't believe how thin that paint is. Look how matte it goes. Mm. A little bit of a skin on the silver. That's right. The medium had kept it dry underneath, so so we're doing on time. We're doing 8:30. It's not bad, is it? hour and a half for a warlord. Can't be bad. Is that speed painting enough for you, Ben? I think I did a video where can I paint such and such in half an hour or something. I have to do another one of those. They're quite fun. I mean, just sometimes some miniatures just need to get them on the table, don't you? Trying to make sure I don't go anywhere near the super glue and this only cheap brush though. There we go. I reckon a couple of tufts on there. Let's throw some. Let's use some strong tone just to finish some of the wood off. So we're going to put a little bit of medium in the brush, just pick up some of that tone, just run it down. I hope there's enough purple in it for you, Karen. Ahoy, Kevin, how are you? Been good, mate? Seen you for a while. Didn't you catch one of us towards the end? Was it last week or the week before? I don't know. It's all merging into one at the moment. So I'm just going to run some of this strong tone, which is our brown black mix. Well, I aim to please Karen. You know, you wanted purple. We got some purple in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of this strong tone onto the metal as well. It'll give it that sort of slightly rusty look. You can put a little bit around the edge of the chainmail as well if you want, just to add a little bit of interest. Anyway, you got a bit of shading to do. Oh, I haven't painted his eyeballs yet. Let's do that. I think he's pretty much done then. Okay. So we've got our little brush, our Psycho. We're going to lock our hand on the table. Make our brush wet. Our paint loaded. Take a little bit off. Lock our other hand against that one. Quite have enough for the second one. There we go. Just a little bit more shape. There we go. That's the white bits. Ah, good work. Get shaking. Get your electric shaker on, Karen, because that's going to need some shaking. Try it first and it'll look rubbish, and then give it a real blast, real shake. And the difference is in these army painted paints. Yeah, when I was first given a bottle, I thought were rubbish, and I wouldn't have taken one if you'd given it to me. Then I learnt the trick of taking a bit of the medium out and then shaking the bejeebus out of them, as I keep saying, makes them work. And then with this medium, they're just cracking. But there we go. Boop. Sometimes you've got to make a boop sound when you do it. That left eye's got a little tiny ridge in it. Just doesn't quite. There we go. Just about. There we go. They're in there. Yeah. Always make sure you clean these out. They're quite dear little brushes, but they will last a long time if you look after them right. There we go. Always put the cap back on those. I really only use them for tiny detail, and that's it. Although I've got a friend who paints whole miniatures of them, goes through lots of them, but that's how he wants to paint. That works for him. So let's have a recap on what we've done then. Let's see if we can get this light slightly different. See if we can take some of the glare off. Is that better? Yeah. So we see he got that red chrome in his lid. What you can do on the black, if you don't like it just like that, before we did the purple bit, you could have dry brushed some dark blue over the top. That looks good. Or even grey if you want it dusty. But that's our warlord. So we'll stick some. Well, let's do that now. Let's get some. Then it'll be ready to lacquer in the morning. These are my favourite tufts from Gamer's Grass. Which Gripping Beast Boys get for me. Great Escape Games do. I think he supplies Firestorm as well, I think. So I did like the army painted tufts as well. But these are pretty similar, and work out slightly cheaper. They are self-adhesive, but I was being a belts and braces sort of guy. I always like whacking on some super glue. Let's have one round here as well, shall we? A big long one. I reckon that's grassy enough, don't you? Let's put them away. Where are we? 8:35. So an hour and 30, say an hour and a half with all the chat. I'm happy with that. I think that's just another thing with the glue. You probably all know, you end up with that little bit of blodge on there. Give it a squeeze out onto a cloth. until you go, yeah, and then it leaves the hole open. So when you put the cap on, it doesn't dry together. That's for anyone that doesn't know. Sorry for the ones that do know. That's what doing these videos all is about, I think. Okay, there we go. And Monday I'll do a showcase unboxing thing. So we'll see all the stuff that we've done over the last month. And thank you very much. Yeah, so we'll start a new one. I'm shaking again. We'll start a new one next Friday. I think I'm around next Friday. I've got some Fridays I'm going to have to swap to Saturdays in the near future. But I'll keep everyone posted on that. Thank you for joining me again. I think it's time to get something cold to drink. And to start a GoFundMe for Karen's chips and fish. GoFundMe. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? And yeah, we shall see you maybe Monday if you want to have a look at what we've done, what we've achieved. And yeah, brilliant. And I'll let you know in the week what we're doing next Friday. So if you haven't done already, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, 'cause it really helps us out, keep us going. Don't forget to do the same for Karen. And we'll see you soon. Stay lucky, people. Bye bye.